morning. Hey, it's Monday. Let's get moving. So it's really, oh my gosh, it's getting to be such an exciting time of the year. I do want you to have a couple things you might need today for mobility. I have a mat and a carpet, and for me, that's an unstable surface. So if you have a piece of wood, or if you're on hardwood floor, you're in a good space. But I'm just going to use my Mobo board as a stable surface this morning. If you don't have then don't worry about it, right? Second thing, let's make sure we have the big stability ball. If you don't have one, you'll be fine. You can anchor without the stability ball, but you definitely want to have one. And 80% of you out there, maybe even 90, you need to blow up your stability ball. That's a public service announcement. So get the pump out and get it so that if you pushed on it, it has a little bit of give. Mine's actually a little bit soft too, so I fall into that 80% for sure. So I'm gonna blow up the stability ball. Miniband, if you have one, great. If you don't, no big deal. All right, so let's go. We'll start with a little bit of foam rolling today. Specifically, we're starting to really ramp up, right? The weather in the Northern Hemisphere is really changing. We really need to make sure that the hips stay mobile. So that really begins with the inner thigh muscles. So we're going to start the day with the most important thing, which is to get the knee up to the height of the hip. And we're foam rolling that first third of the femur down by the knee, the inside of the knee, but above the knee. The foot is floating at the same height as the knee. So it's about 6 to 8 inches off the ground. And we're working that first third down by the knee. Now, stop, and let's work some internal rotation of the hip by lifting the foot. You guys, I cannot emphasize how important, I can't emphasize enough how important hip internal rotation is. It needs to be active, right? So you need to be able to move through this motion right here. Tight adductors will really get you in trouble in the long run when it comes to hip function and athletic performance. All right, we're up into the middle of the adductor complex, the middle 1/3 of the femur. Just working through that. By the way, when I throw a foam roller at my athletes when they walk in the gym in the morning, they usually know it's because I'm like, okay, you've been working out all weekend. You've been doing 5-hour bike rides. You've been in the handlebars or in the bars, like in the drops. We're starting to get more and more comfortable in arrow position. And there's nothing worse than having tight adductors after you get off the bicycle in the arrow. Okay, so now we're up in the third up by the pelvis, and we're gonna work that same flossing, internal rotation through the hip. So we're working not just movement, but also activation, mobility and activation here. Been just kind of on the uptick a little bit with you guys as a group, okay? Incidentally, thank you for referring your friends, because the viewership of the Monday Mobility has really gone up lately, and I just really, really appreciate you sharing this, because it's going to continue to be important to me, and the more people I can share it with, the better. So definitely like and subscribe and do all the things. If you know me, I'm pretty self-sufficient. I just want to help people move better and enjoy sport. So definitely like the channel and subscribe and tell your friends and share it on social media, all of the above. Floss that lower leg. Hopefully you've learned, just follow along when I get on a rant. Okay, right in the middle of the 1/3, right in the belly of the adductor. I'm not too worried about moving through here. I just want to make sure. And you can also assess your need for recovery. So if it's really pinny in the adductors and it hurts, you really need a little bit more recovery, which Mondays typically are an easier day with most people who are on a 7-day schedule, which a lot of you aren't. Some people do this session on Wednesday and Thursday. Okay, good. Getting up right up by the pelvis. Work that internal rotation. Good. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is go right into some lateral gliding. So we have foam rolled the inner thigh. That's going to give permission to the glutes to work better. That's a huge concept. All right. Okay, ready? We've got a little bit of hip hinging. Push the hips back and then forward. When they come forward, you might feel a little bit of tension in the front side of the hip. 2, keep going. Push your hips back. 3, you got a little bit of that inverted C here. If you can handle your shoulders behind your hips, then do it. Nice and easy. It should not feel compromising at all to your low back. 5, 6, hip hinge. 7, 8, 2 more. 9, good, and 10. So my spine did not move at all there. It just moved in space, but it did not flex and extend, right? And that's kind of the goal when we're working through the hips. We've got a nice wide stance. We're going to anchor that stance. So the heels are outside of the toes are strong into the ground. Push the hips back about 3 inches. And right here, the right shoulder and the right hip are going to rotate to the midline, then the left side. So when I go right side to the midline, this is internal rotation on my left leg. And then back, and as I go to the right side, I recognize that they are not the same. And that's okay. Probably due to a broken ankle. It's almost been 2 years, but I'll tell you, ankles are a bear because they tend to turn off the muscles above them. So if you sprain an ankle, it's really going to affect hip motion. So you got to do these little things to really make sure. Keep rotating through the hips. You can see with my hands how it's just the hips. And if the hip stops, the upper body stops. Don't let it keep going. Just stop and stop, right? Then we know we keep it in the hips. We don't move up into the thoracic spine. Shake that out. Let's get this stability ball. We're going to activate and upregulate the adductors, the ones that we just foam rolled, and then we rotated in to each side. So anchor the feet again. Make sure you squish the ball. We're going to apply force into the ball with the knees. Hold that nice and strong. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. Those of you that are in my premium group, yes, we did this on Saturday as part of the warm-up into our deadlifts. Squeeze. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release the knees so there's no tension. There might be a little bit, but now we're going to just really fire it up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pull the ribs off the hips. One more time, actually 2 more times. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Knees out. Ready? We've got one more roll here. Squeeze it. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, so here's my jam with the mini bands. When you just start activating your lateral hip without foam rolling and activating your inner thigh, you're gonna probably, it's not a bad thing, but it's not as good as it could be. I guess that's the best way to say it. I don't want to poo-poo mini bands because there's people making a living off of these damn mini bands. But the truth be told, if you're not actively activating and strengthening your adductors and you're just mini banding yourself to death, you're creating a little bit more imbalance to your hips than you could be if you did it the other way. Okay, so right here, we're just going to step to the right. We've got the mini band above the knees. Is it a little bit easier? Yes, but that's okay. We don't worry about that. It's okay to do easy things. 4, 5, we're just going to go 10, one set. 6, we're just looking for activation. 7, we want to create balance. 8, 9, 10, and then we just step to the back. Get in that athletic position, hips to the back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 10 reps. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Good. Now you can do that mini band so many different ways, and you can make it harder and harder. But heck, it's Monday, you guys. We don't have to do that, right? Mondays is about movement. It's not about crushing ourselves. We don't have to crush ourselves every day. Okay, a little bit of happy hips. As per usual, the distance between the knee and the foot should be 6 to 8 inches. Roll the knee to the middle. 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, and 5. Land on your back, right foot on the left knee. We're going to make this more mobility than stretching or flexibility. And all we're doing, we've got right foot on left knee. We're going to lift the left foot so we get a little bit of activation in the left hip flexor. And in response to that, we're going to get a little bit of a stretch through the right hip. We're going to go 10 of these. Lower body lift. Here we go. 1, 2. Try to keep your pubic bone into the belly button and strong, stable low back. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. Left foot on right knee. Pull your ribs off your hips. Nice little lift. 2, 3, 4. You should not be flexing through your spine. 6. I'll talk about that in just a second. 7, 8. Finish this up. 9, 10. Okay, when I say flexing through the spine, let's take a second and just establish flat hips, also known as neutral pelvis. So you want to activate and pull pubic bone to belly button, flatten your hips, and just push your low back into the floor. You might have to reposition your head so that it gets long. Tuck your chin into your neck. From there, we're going to activate the diaphragm with a huge big breath. So you can't see the diaphragm, so people don't tend to train it, right? So let's go. Hopefully that'll stay. Okay, ready? Big inhales. We're going to go 5 big breaths to activate the diaphragm, the big dome-like muscle that envelops the bottom of the rib cage. Ready? Inhale. One more. And good. All right, let's get all the way back up. Get your mobile board or get under your nice flat, stable surface. Single leg stance. Split stance. Woo, a little bit of head rush. Okay, right leg straight down. And you can see I am standing on my right leg. So stand on your right leg. Your left leg is a kickstand. From right here, you're just going to stand. We'll lift that left leg up. Get really comfortable on one foot. Pay attention to how your brain and your foot are interacting, because they are. Just stand strong. And now push the gas pedal down. So push into your lead foot, forefoot. Forefoot, toes might even spread out. Make sure that this back leg is in extension. Your nose should be ever so slightly in front of your toes. Stand tall, pull the ribs off the hips. Lengthen that entire line. Good. Shake that out. Left side. So we're just going to establish a really good posture on that left leg. Stand on the left leg. First of all, we're just standing. When we stand, the nose is probably directly over the toe. And then when we load the forefoot and shift into the front of the body there, that's when the forefoot starts to spread out. And we start to really get that signal. Pull the ribs off the hips. Keep holding that right leg in extension in the back. Hold it back. Nice big reach. Stay tall and strong. So now we're activating between, it is hip flexor, but it's long hip flexor. We fired that glute in the back, and we just try to establish that hip decoupling. Okay, right leg again. Stand strong on top of the right leg. Stand. And then shift into your forefoot. Hold strong. You should be quite soft in the right knee, but tall. Float the hands to the height of the heart. Hold that nice and easy. We're standing on your right leg. Now your right thumb is into your left palm. And we're just pulling that into an archer. And then it comes back. Moving through the upper body, maintain your balance. 2, 3. Drag the thumb along the forearm, along the chest, till it comes up in the back like you're pulling a bow and arrow. And good. So when you do the archer, it's pulling into internal rotation on the leg we're standing on, which is very, very relevant when it comes to running and cycling, specifically to running. Okay? And so if it works for running, it's going to work for riding, blah. If it works for running, it's going to work for walking. If it works for walking, it's going to work for downhill walking. We've got a couple of athletes training for big mountain treks. They're like not worried about getting to the top of the mountain. They're worried about getting down. So you need to be able to accept internal rotation. Okay, left leg in front of right. Nice and tall. Right leg is an extension. Stay tall, pull the ribs off the hips. A little bit of shift into the forefoot. See if you can lift that right foot up. Hands out to the height of the heart. We're standing on the left leg, so left thumb into right palm. We just got that little bit of archer. Rotate your upper back. And you're doing that all on single leg. If you're struggling on one foot, just put the kickstand down with your right leg. 2, if you can handle it and do it, do it. 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so we definitely want you to play with the archer throughout the week. If you're standing in the line at the bank, set up a nice split stance, float your hands to the height of the heart, and you're gonna, if your left leg's in front, you're gonna pull back on your left arm, okay? So it's a reverse of what is kind of a normal, what we would call archer. Okay, heels outside of toes. We're taking the hands, just let them hang down right inside the hips. Push the hips back, keep the eyes up, and we're just nice, easy deadlifting, straight leg to the ground, come back up. Push the hips back. 2, that kind of loads the hamstrings, definitely loads the posterior chain. All is one piece. Hips are moving nice and easy. I did get a chance to get out and run this morning in the pitch black. Can't wait for the season to keep coming so that I can be running in less than pitch black dark. So anyway, my hips, because I ran, probably feel a little bit better than when I don't run. So always in my best interest to get to bed early on Sunday night. And good. You guys, that's it. That's what we got today. A little bit of mobility, about 20 minutes. Hopefully you're set up for a really exciting week. Here in Colorado, we got through about 2 feet of snow, and it's almost all gone. It's almost all melted. Peace. I hope you're doing great. Thanks for joining me.